Hi, this is Mrs. Anderson, and today I'm going to be asking Got credibility? And what I'm asking when I ask that is this internet source that you found reliable? So as always, this video will be posted on my YouTube account, Anderson SF Lancer, so that you can stop it, rewind it, replay it as many times as necessary. So as we about to embark on doing some research, we want to make sure that we're using credible and reliable sources. And you did just watch a Schmoot video on this, hopefully. But to quickly recap the video, remember that reliable sources have an author and the author is respected in the field. How do we find out if the author is respected? You may not always know. You're going to have to Google the author's name and look. And that way we can find out what their credentials are and if they perhaps have any biases. Remember how we talked about in class that one of the companies that sponsored the research on the importance of eating a healthy breakfast was a cereal company. So you always want to make sure that the people who are doing the research are kind of free of those kind of biases. We want to make sure the information provided is relevant or current. Now, if I'm doing research on the ancient Greeks, relevant and current information, especially current information, may not be so important. But if I'm doing research on something like cloud computing, knowing that computer technology changes on an almost daily basis, we want to make sure we're finding something from today and not from 10 years ago. And it's great when a source can provide other sources and working links to those sources. Now, what I'd like to add to this list are some additional checks. Usually a reliable source is going to be a .org, .gov, or .edu. Now, there are, of course, exceptions to this. Remember, we talked about Wikipedia not being so great for research. It's great as a first stop, but you need to find something else beyond that point, and that's a .org. But at the same time, the New York Times is newyorktimes.com, and that's a pretty reputable newspaper. Make sure that your source provides provides works cited or a list of references. It should be free of grammar and spelling errors, and the information can be cross-referenced. Now, if you've not heard this idea of cross-reference before, that means that you can look somewhere else to find similar information. And I like the rule of three. If you find some information that seems to be unusual, if you can usually find it supported on 3 different other websites, then chances are it's probably going to be okay. So let's start to check for some credibility. I'm going to run through that list as I look through some of these websites for possible research topics. So if my first research topic is vegetarianism and cancer rates, when I Googled, this is one of the sources that showed up. So it's by a Dr. William Harris, MD. That was something that I was glad to see. And I also like that it has statistics, it has some charts. It's relevant for my research topic. But as I start to scroll down and look at the references, I'm glad that it has references. But when I'm looking at these references, 1987, 1979, 1991, 1997, we're talking about 2019. And especially in the treatment of breast cancer, there's been a lot of research and a lot of things that have happened since 1987. So I don't know that I really trust that this is current research that I should be using. And if I try to find out more about Dr. Harris, I'm noticing that this is all coming from VegSource. So I'm wondering if this is really going to be a site that's unbiased, because a vegetarian website is probably going to be in favor of a vegetarianism diet. So I'd like to find something by an independent party. So I'm going to keep looking. I wouldn't use this one. Okay, so if I look at my next research topic, if I had to research the octopus, here's an interesting site that I found when I Googled octopus. And this particular site says, help save the endangered Pacific Northwest tree octopus from extinction. And I'm thinking, oh, that's pretty awesome. Didn't know there was a tree octopus. And I see that there's some pictures of the rare and elusive tree octopus. Apparently, he has as I scroll down, I'm trying to see if there's an author and a date. There is an author. I don't see any date for any of this research. I'm glad they have links. When I go to a link, it kind of looks a little similar to the last site. And oh, look, this is the author. I don't know how I feel about the author of a site using his own research to support his site. That seems a little dicey. And if I go back, I want to find out more about this guy who created this site. Okay, bingo. This concerns me. Serving the paranoid since 1997. I'm going to assume that whole site is just a joke site that he created, and I'm going to keep moving on from there. All right, so now my new research topic is children's health. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this site, and when I'm here, What I'm going to see is something that looks pretty official. There's a seal, there's members, okay? There is a copyright date by the American College of Pediatricians. There's handouts that I can find. I don't see a particular author on this. I know it's an organization, and I can see here's what the organization will give official statements on. But while I'm glad this is pediatricians, I want to find out a little bit more. So I actually Googled the American College of Pediatricians quickly on Wikipedia just to see what I could find out. And this concerns me, this part that I have in blue. The group's primary focus is advocating against the right of gay or lesbian people to adopt children, and it also advocates conversion therapy. So this is some really concerning information that I'm finding because it's obviously going to be biased. The research that they're finding is going to be research that they've used to support the family unit as mother, father, children. So if I'm looking for children's health information, I don't think I necessarily want to go here. So I'm going to move on. So, what you see me kind of talking through as I'm doing this are a list of things that I'm looking for. And to help you with your research efforts, I've created this Got Credibility form with the help of Catlin Tucker. And what this form asks you to do is to run through that checklist as you're looking through a website and gives you tangible questions to answer to help determine if it's a credible source. So, does it have an author? Is this person associated with an institution, organization, or company? If it is, would that take away from his or her credibility? Do you see any bias? Is the information current? Is it important for it to be current? Are there links? Do they work? Are there any spelling mistakes? Are there a list of references that are credible? Can you cross-reference this? And then that ultimately leads you to the question whether or not you think the source is credible. So we're going to practice trying to determine credibility by using that form. And here's what your classwork is going to be next. I'm going to give you the research topic of life on other planets, and you're going to be given 3 websites. So individually, you're going to complete the Got Credibility form 3 times, so 1 for each website. And then at that point, you should be able to determine which website is the credible one that you'd use for your research. And now notice I said website, not websites. There are 3 websites, but only 1 is reliable. And again, I caution and remind you, you may have to do more research about your research. Don't be afraid to Google an author or click on links to find out more. So good luck on your search, and remember to always use credible sources.